audience don't realize is that the majority of rappers do not respect. Yo, chat, I can tell you right now. How long? Think about it. How long I done covering Chief Keef? I DM Chief Keef last night. I said, Chief Keef, I gotta get you on an episode. He left me on red. That's a fact. He left me on red. So for everybody who be saying blah, 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 you should do it. My DM Chief Keef.
Because you're a news page like
No. But what I'm saying is that I DM'd him for an episode. Bro, I didn't have to even ask 6ix9ine for it. I'm like, yo, whenever it's going to happen, I'm going to tell 6ix9ine to come do this, and he's going to do this. Because you know why? Because I've helped him before. Everybody else in this industry, I've helped. I've built their career. I've built mystique around them, called them the biggest demon that's ever lived on earth. Bro,
you be capping them.
It don't even matter. But I've built all that, and you know what they did? They did a bunch of shows. They got a lot of money. And when if I ever say, yo, hey, could you just do an interview with me? Bro, they get weird. Chief Keef let me on red. That's facts.
Hey, what's up, y'all? Y'all know my slogan. I don't know it all, but I know what I've been through. Now, alright, apparently, y'all, DJ Akademiks got upset that Chief Keef, Big Sosa, turned down his podcast invitation, and he went on this whole rant on Twitch claiming that he made Chief Keef's career. He's a reason that a lot of these rappers from Chicago is who they are. They did shows, they got a lot of money, they never helped him out, and he never asked for nothing. A whole bunch of crap, right? Now, he said he DM'd Chief Keef to do an interview on his new podcast, and he left him on scene. Then he began to say that he made him who he is today, he helped his career, as well as a bunch of other artists from Chicago. Now, I'm assuming he's referring to his earlier YouTube days where he had the whole Wont Chiraq thing going, and he kept a lot of the world updated on what was going on in Chicago. Pretty much through this whole drill movement, the earlier drill days or whatever the case may be, right? So, one thing I gotta do is actually give props to DJ Akademiks, because he was in fact one of the first bloggers / YouTubers, whatever, that was actually keeping everyone in tune with who these Chicago rappers were, and who at the same time a lot of people didn't know, including myself. G Herbo, Lil Bibby, Lil Jojo, Lil Mouse, P Rico, Rondo Number 9, LA Capone, E-Day, C-Day, a lot of these guys, right? The list goes on. However, to say that he made Chief Keef's career is definitely a reach. Alright, and it's a reach because a lot of the reason why people started paying attention to Chicago first was because of Chief Keef. So to say that you was already making Chief Keef's career who he is and doing all that, it's cap. I ain't gonna lie, it's cap, because at the end of the day, Chief Keef, after he blew up, that's when everybody started paying attention to Chicago, and that's kind of when, DJ Akademiks started with the whole War in Chiraq, because I guess he started seeing what was going on and he started reporting all the news. Alright, and if you really want to get down to it, man, in fact, DJ Akademiks profited off a lot of bodies that was dropping in Chicago around that time, and he is the reason behind a lot of them as well. So if you ask me, excuse me, I think he did a lot of more damage than good, and we're going to get into all that in a second. Alright, now before we do, make sure you like, comment, share, and subscribe. Hit that bell so you're notified every time we drop new content, and I swear, it's lit here. So join the latest gang on YouTube so you can stay updated with some of the realest content. Now let's get straight into it. Now, Livingston Allen, better known as DJ Akademiks, who's currently 27 years old, is definitely one of the biggest bloggers / YouTubers when it comes to the drill scene. And if you ask me, that's what actually got him where he is today, the drill culture. Now, the whole drill scene catapulted his career and made DJ Akademiks a household name amongst the streets, whereas everyone knew the voice but never seen the face behind the voice that was narrating all of the drill stuff going on in Chicago. Now, there was a time where people actually thought that Akademiks was from Chicago until it was later exposed that he was actually from Spanish Town, Jamaica, and migrated to the U.S. in 2001, landing in New Jersey. All right. Now, there was times people wanted to desperately find out who he was because Akademiks would talk about gangs and dead ops in an insensitive way, as if they still don't have family or friends out here. And I think a lot of what he was saying carelessly stemmed from the fact that nobody knew who he really was. He kind of was like a ghost, you couldn't see his face, but you knew his voice. Now also, Akademiks got this weird blogging style that we haven't really seen too much of back then, whereas he would say certain things other people wouldn't, and it was like a trolling way, but at the same time he would speak on celebrities and entertainment situations and ask questions that, a lot of us was thinking ourselves. So it was kind of like a 50-50 thing. We hated him, but we still loved him at the same time because he was reporting all the events that was occurring in Chicago, where the drill culture was like kind of fascinating. Because if you wasn't from Chicago, to hear about a 14-year-old, 15-year-old, 16-year-old shooting each other, you got Chief Keef and them when they was like 16, carrying big guns, military style. All this is exciting when you coming from like a New York City, or because it's like, you don't see that every day. But in Chicago, it's an everyday thing. So I think that's another reason why the drill culture kind of catapulted as well. Now, let me give you a little history as to why I'm assuming DJ Akademiks feels entitled to an interview with Chief Keef and went on this little rant after Keef turned him down. Back in June 2014, the 24th to be exact, DJ Akademiks started a YouTube channel by the name of War in Chiraq that was dedicated to all the negative things that was occurring in Chicago, from the shootings, killings, robberies, music, you name it. Now the channel currently sits at 142.6 million views with 387,000 subscribers. Now, during the early drill era of 2014, Akademiks would report on all the murders and events going on in Chicago, instigating beefs between rival gangs, and every time something happened, he would narrate the situation, adding fuel to the already ongoing fire, and sometimes poke fun at it, and people were really dying, but here he is making jokes, and now, while people who weren't from Chicago was entertained at this new style of rawness and not giving up, it was people that was actually involved that was suffering, including family and friends that began to hate Akademiks and the War in Chiraq YouTube. Alright, as people lost their lives behind some of the content published off that YouTube, just as many Chicago rappers have begun to get famous off of it, as well as shine light to their music. A lot of them also passed away. Alright, now people such as G Herbo, Lil Bibby, Lil Mouse, and a couple others would take advantage and pump out music throughout their whole career and go on to get deals as well as street credibility, as well as LIL DURK and a couple other guys, OTF guys, a whole bunch of people, Lil Reese especially. Now, in fact, June 19th, Vic Mensa, who is from Chicago, was a guest on Complex's Everyday Struggle that included Joe Buttons, DJ Akademiks, and Nadeska. And pretty much Everyday Struggle was like their version of the Breakfast Club, where they would gather around, invite artists, interview them, and talk about the latest news. But this time, things got a little bit heated when Akademiks asked a Chicago rapper this. He said, quote, "How do you feel about the state of drill music and the tendency of those outside of Chicago sensationalizing the music without considering the lives lost by actual gun violence in the city?" And look, now here was Vic Mensa's response. He said, quote, "I wanted to slap you in your face, honestly," Vic told him, "and I'm just seeing you here, so I'm like, this is a tame environment, so I would just keep it to my words. But I really felt as if people exactly like you sensationalized and made a following off of clowning situations that we go through in real life. And I think N-words ain't have no right. You specifically. You ain't ever have a right. What made you feel like you had a space to have a perspective on our people dying on a daily basis?" Now, first and foremost, the nerve of DJ Akademiks to even ask a question like that when he himself profited solely off that same question he just asked Mensa. Alright, I honestly believe that maybe Akademiks purposely asked that question to get a reaction out of Mensa, and that's exactly what he got. Because let's be real, man. Let's be real. He just asked a question based on something that he was doing throughout that whole drill culture with the War in Chiraq. innocent bodies was not innocent, but you know what I mean. People were dying, and at the end of the day, he was making money off YouTube off it. They're dying. He's sitting there making fun. He's poking fun. He's not even from there. This man is from Spanish Town, Jamaica, and then New Jersey at that. You see what I'm saying? So I think what he was doing, he was pretty much trolling, and that's a lot of what DJ Akademiks used to do on that little Everyday Struggle show that they had. He would ask questions to certain people to try to ruffle their feathers, kind of like what Charlemagne does. It's kind of like what Joe Budden was doing. This is this new way of interviewing style that a lot of these new radio personalities have to where they just ask crazy questions and they want you to react so they could get good like YouTube content or whatever. It's foolish, man. It's not genuine anymore. You see what I'm saying? And Vic Mensa wasn't the only person that felt the way about DJ Akademiks concerning the whole Wont Chiraq channel neither. It's a few others, including Lil J, and a bunch of drill rappers that later realized what DJ Akademiks actually caused. Like, they was really warring with each other over this YouTube, seeing bodies drop, and then him talking about it, and the next you know, he instigated. Now that's putting fuel in this guy's back to go and do this to the ops, and then once the op died, it's just a never-ending cycle, bro. And I personally did a video on this already about the damage that this man has caused throughout Chicago. I've been speaking about it. I've been seeing it. Being an outsider, I seen what was going on. And when it comes to Chief Keef leaving him on scene, I don't even think it was personal, honestly, to be honest with you. I think Chief just not with the whole media stuff right now. And if you peep, he hasn't been doing any features. He hasn't been doing any interviews, no nothing. So maybe Akademiks took it the wrong way, but whole time Chief probably just don't want to be bothered, man. And not to mention, I don't think DJ Akademiks doing an interview would be good for Chief Keef's image right now anyway, because DJ Akademiks have a bad rep. He had too much going for himself right now as far as people hating him, not liking him. You got Tekashi 6ix9ine, he's supporting him, everything. It's like Chief career in his interview, it just doesn't make sense. It don't coincide with each other, in my opinion. All it will be is like bad press for your boy Chief Keef, and he don't need that right now, man. Like I said, DJ Akademiks interview, it just wouldn't make sense. Like, I see what Akademiks is trying to do. I see he's trying to bring the whole Wont Chiraq thing back, because it's people that actually want to see it. It's people that's from the culture and remember the whole Wont Chiraq thing. I remember it. I was a fan watching it too, trying to see what was going on in Chicago. But at the same time, in the midst of 2014 to now, DJ Akademiks has earned himself a bad name, man. And whether he wants to admit it or not, you standing next to a DJ Akademiks, it just wouldn't make sense. And not to mention, you gotta remember, he supports 6ix9ine. So it just wouldn't make sense, man. And matter of fact, then he tried to sit there and justify why he been messing with 6ix9ine and correlate it to the whole Chief Keef situation, talking about, oh, 6ix9ine did this for me, he did that, oh, he always look out. Listen, one thing has nothing to do with the other. Alright, and to think of it, that's probably why Chief doesn't want to do the interview, matter of fact, because you sitting there supporting a snitch. So anybody that associates themselves with Akademiks is going to seem like he condones and supports 6ix9ine as well. You see what I'm saying? That's just how it goes. And if he can't understand that, then that's just on him, man. But I think Akademiks he get on Twitch and say whatever, man. He just say whatever. He start drinking that Henny and he start getting a little besides himself. Because the whole Akademiks you see online is never the same Akademiks you see when he's behind, I said online. The Akademiks you see in person is never the same Akademiks you see when he's behind the computer. It's two different people. One day he's acting like this tough guy when he's on Twitch. He don't care. He'll do this. And then when you see him in person, he looks timid. Alright, he watches his mouth when he's talking. It's like, you know, over the years, he has become a little more, you know, swinging his nuts just a little bit. But at the end of the day, he's still Akademiks, man. But one day he's going to come across the right person who's not going to care about the amount of security he has, because he does stay with a lot of security. And dudes is just going to let him have it, man. Watch. Like, it's been so long you keep trolling before something happened to you, man. But like I said it earlier, Ak has caused a lot of suffering in Chicago single-handedly. With that YouTube page. And I have yet to hear him own up to it, and he probably never will. Now, keep in mind, these guys that were following the channel and beefing with each other, they were kids at the time, man. We're talking 14, 15, 16-year-olds. So they don't know any better. Alright, all they know is their environment and not to let any rival gang get the one up on them. So they killing and dying for their respect left and right, man. Just so somebody could be like, yo, yeah, you the man, you got it. Yo, we up on the score, we this. You see what I'm saying? That's the mindset these guys got. And it was all over a war caused by an internet blogger. Alright, now don't get me wrong. I've heard Akademiks say a bunch of times that there was a war going on way before him. And he's correct. But however, it's like a burning fire. Right? It's a fire there and there's a flame there. But Akademiks was the gasoline and the fuel to the flame. So I actually hope none of these guys actually from Chicago do an interview with him, whether he made their career pop or not. I hope they don't ever do no interviews with this man, because he done caused more harm and more damage to Chicago than anything else than good. Alright? But anyway, y'all let me know how y'all feel in the comments, man. Do you feel Chief Keef and other drill rappers actually should let DJ Akademiks do an interview with them? Or what? Let me know in the comments, alright? Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Hit that bell so you're notified every time we drop new content. And remember, as long as you keep on watching, I'm going to keep on dropping. And I'm out.